shit until they finally said, hey, America's not pulling their ass. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They have too many secondary objectives. Too many secretive bullshit.
The funny thing was when Putin and Obama were going at it, it was hilarious because Putin was like, you know, I'll leak every single one of your American secrets if you don't let me do what the fuck I want to do. and at some point, like when he said that, though, they had joked about Area 51, and he joked about the weather fucking shit that we have, because they had a meeting with one of the little Russian one of the prime ministers of some place, might have been Russian, might have been another country or whatnot, but he was like, he made a joke about what was it, our weather system. We talked about all these like Hurricane Katrina and stuff. He's like, why didn't you guys take care of it? You have the technology, you have it to create it. Why don't you have it to stop it? So it was a joke, but somebody took it. He took it as like, holy shit, did he just say what I thought he said?
Right. Yeah, he was kidding around. Well, I don't think he really is. I think
he was kidding. Yeah, I think he was kidding around, but I think the whole fact that the joke was something that was actually based out of reality, and probably why he didn't think much of it.
Right. Hey, he did. He completely took his ass off guard with that, and then, in all honesty, I believe they do have the technology.
I think
they really do. I mean, our government and our military has so much hidden technology. It's ridiculous.
Man, Australia, when it comes to your guys' technology, man, it's like we're in a third world fucking country. Seriously.
Right.
Well, you guys
we're starting to develop shit that Japan hasn't even developed. And Japan has always been the leading tech person in the world.
That's correct, yeah.
I mean, those little fuckers with their tiny little hands do amazing shit.
I mean, you know, we got LAVs and fucking Abrams and all that shit. But when it comes to, like, on the ground, military-wise, you guys are, like, leading the charge fucking enormously.
And 95% of that gear that we have for our foot soldiers, our standard troops, is developed by us.
You want to do it
There are certain things that were developed by like Japan or China.
Yeah.
That we got a patent for and took, but the majority of it we developed.
Some of the funnier stuff is the what is it? What the fuck was I thinking about there? There was oh shit, hold on. There was something that I was reading about and stuff like that, and they had like so many sources on it, and it's something they've been trying to get off our internet for the God knows how long. It was so funny when you actually look into the Sandy Hook stuff, all of the asbestos that was in the school. That school was not open from 2000 to 2013 or 2000 or whatever. When it happened, the person who found out
it was supposed to be closed.
Yeah, it was supposed to be closed due to asbestos, because you can't get asbestos out of it. You would have to knock the building down and recreate. So instead of taking the loss on the insurance of that of that building, they only cost $75,000, I think, to make. And after the insurance claim, whenever the shooting happened, by the way, was by a retarded child with like 3 or 4 assault rifles and 2 handguns. I don't know about you, but knowing how much an assault rifle weighs, to be able to carry 3 of them, I don't really think you would be able to use his retard strength and hold a bunch of magazines either. Not to mention the glass was broken from the inside, not the outside. They said he approached the building, the doors were locked, and he broke the glass from the outside. There would be glass that shows a picture of the actual place.
In the inside.
There would be glass on the inside, glass on the outside. So
yeah, Sandy Hook was staged.
It's hilarious.
I'm a full believer on that. Sandy Hook was staged, and it was for 2 agendas. It was one, to start off the whole gun ban.
Yeah, that's what Obama's still trying to do. He's still trying to do it with this. The latest shooting. No, here you go. Let's do this.
You had the club shooting, like you just said. You had that club shooting down there. It's taken that view. It's taken front row center. Everybody's focused on that shooting right now. So they're not paying attention to the bans, which one of them was just passed, was for assault rifle ammunition. Which technically, assault rifles have been banned for fucking since the 80s.
In 2001, that was when Sandy Hook was first closed due to asbestos poisoning. In 2000, down the street, there was a mock drill being done of an active shooter on the campus. It was exact same scenario, exact same setup. And it was a mock drill done a year before in the same style of building in a school such as that one.
A mock drill.
A mock drill.
Mind you, was led in and a success.
Yeah.
They performed it with no loss or minimum loss. It was classified as successful mock drill.
So
in the same building with the same exact layout and setup.
Yep. So and then the other thing, when the guys were actually there, go there to take the pictures, they showed the pictures of where the guy, because all this information was free to get. Every bit of information you could find on the internet anyways. And even though you can screw up some things with the internet, there's other things. There's the accountability of the parents not being allowed to see their children, nor the parents even existing, as well as the kids, the whole last names, the pictures, like these actual kids that exist. None of the city knows about them. No one knows anything. And the cops, one cop even asked about what was going on, and he was let go. He was relieved of duty 6 months later, and 2 people approached his place and told him not to ask any more questions. And all of the cars that were in the area were, every single license plate was, it was, what was it?
Government issued.
Well, it was every license plate that was there expired in 2008, and each car was facing the same direction. I don't know about you, but when you go to work, do you really park your car in the same direction as every other car that's there? Some people back in, some people use a different parking spot. Every car was facing the same direction.
Parks the same.
It was horrible. Yeah, it was horribly done.
Like I said, it was staged. It was completely staged.
The biggest reason they don't want Google Glass and stuff like that to take over is not for security purposes for us. It's for security for them. Think if you had 9/11 happen again.
because Google Glass will expose a lot of shit.
That would expose every different angle that could possibly exist would be Google Glass. It could tell you if something's going to happen. I mean, it's
just
ridiculous.
like that Google Earth.
Google Earth.
They keep that thing outdated for a month.
They keep it outdated so they can move things, too. They don't want you knowing what it is.
It gives them time to move shit out of sight, out of view, and then put everything back to where it was of the previous month. You can go and look at certain military bases, and you can see how certain things are moved, certain things are changed each month. And then you look at one spot, it's the same every month, all the time. It never changes.
Yep.
But it's usually something about with several tractor trailers somewhere and about. That way they can move shit, nobody can know, and they can get away with it easily.
Yep, it's pretty crazy.
I remember we had a spot on one base that unless you were a general, you were not allowed unless you had specific special clearance. And you weren't allowed 100 yards in the area of this. I mean, they had it completely fenced off. You weren't allowed to even walk up to the fence. You had to stay completely away from it. And it was just real suspicious because this is a training base. Why do you have this on a training base if we're not allowed to fucking go near it? And there's not that many high-ranking officers in a fucking training base.
A buddy of mine was worked on a submarine, and he was a Navyman for a while, and they it's so funny because a lot of people talked about World War II and stuff, and they also talked about Pearl Harbor. Did you know that while Pearl Harbor was going on, while everybody was paying attention, there was multiple attacks on another area at the exact same time? And he was talking about it when I was working with him. He's like, dude, I didn't even know where we were. He's like, when Pearl Harbor and stuff was going on, they were on a separate mission, and the same thing was happening that was happening at Pearl Harbor was happening at other bases. So the only one that was even recognized was Pearl Harbor because there were no survivors from the other one. They actually had to show up on the submarine, and they were firing at things. They were killing people. They were killing some of the other ships and shit. But they didn't know what for. Nobody still even remembers or even knows where they went that day because they went all the way back. Yeah,
that will never be revealed.
Yeah, that will never be revealed of what they were doing that day.
Never.
And this is straight from somebody that was in that submarine because they never submerged. They never actually went to the surface during that entire mission.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the big reason they never actually went to the surface is it's saving his life more or less.
Well, yeah,
because he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know what was going on. He never seen who was there, so so they have no reason to dispose of him.
Well, they don't even know
who they were. Is he was there.
They don't even know who they were fighting. Like the generals, the person that were on the main people didn't even say anything about who they were fighting. They just said the enemy.
Yeah, they had to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to say anything. So it's like, well, no, it's kind of ridiculous though because they did lose a lot of ships. They lost a lot of submarines too at the same time. He was saying they went there with I think with 15. They had like a fleet of 15 ships and submarines. It's a very
little known fact that during World War II, during the attack of Pearl Harbor, Germany held, you know, the highest amount of submarine ships in any navy in the world at the time. Besides us, we almost equaled them until that day. Well, once that happened, we lost over half of our U ships. It's the same thing with that. What was it? U-51.
The U-571.
The German ship that the Americans confiscated to get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the same thing. I mean, that's only partially true. We only know what they want us to know.
Oh shit, I died.
There's a lot of shit they hide.
Oh yeah, tons of it. But while we deal with all the bullshit that's going on with Kev, welcome to the broadcast. Ray Rosé, what's going on, brother? And Ragnarok, welcome to the broadcast. But no, they don't want to. They don't want to tell us a lot.
I think we have a guest.
A guest.
Look, it's Aussie's daughter. I think she's playing with his mic. Well, I mean, that's the whole reason the government's scared of veterans. Because we know what happens. We know what went on, and they trained us to fight. Regardless if we're missing a limb or not, we're still going to fight.
Yeah.
And if it came down to us taking on our own government, 90% of active military will turn on the government to fight for the people. Because we took an oath, and we stand by that oath to protect the people, not the government.
Yeah, I remember there's a few of my buddies that were from overseas too, the Marines and stuff like that, and they talk about the same stuff. They're like, you know, and I've had a buddy of mine, Justin, who was also in the army and stuff, and he was doing everything. He said the same thing. He's like, you know, if it ever came down to it, a lot of us would not even pick the government because look at how they've treated us, the vet program and all that stuff. He's like, look how they treat us. He's like, yeah, I wouldn't stand for them. I wouldn't stand for them again because nobody knows what they're dying for over there anymore. It's so convoluted. It's not the same moral value.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point for us to be there. I mean, besides, I honestly think ISIS is a serious threat that needs to be completely eradicated, more or less. But you're not going to completely eradicate any kind of threat like that. I mean, it's the same.
I think they're the new
Nazis.
I think they're the new
eradicated.
store-bought threat because they've been around for what, 20 years now, 10, 15, something like that.
They've been
around for a
around
while.
longer than that. I mean, if you trace the history of ISIS all the way, or ISIL, to ISIS, to Al Qaeda, they're all the same fucking group.
We had to
more or less,
change
all the same group.
one AAA ball club to the next.
Yeah, well, it all comes back down to when we funded Syria with weapons, and that was what's that bastard from Fox News? He used to be a general in the army.
Oh, you're talking about fucking Brian Williams?
No, no, it's a different guy. He was trialed for treason, and then they